Namaste, angels. This is going to be our full moon in Aries reading, 9 degrees Aries, covering a period of October 1st when the full moon occurs at 5:05 p.m. through October 15th, with the new moon in Libra occurring on October 16th at 3:31 p.m. 23 degrees Libra, which I think is pretty cool because I've talked about it before when I go over history and stuff. The 23rd of October is the date that was actually argued in court as being the first day of civilization. So in October, new moon at 23 degrees just reminded me of that. All right, anyway, getting into the cards, and maybe a different mood for a second, because I am otherwise upbeat. I want to explain why I have these out and why I'm going to be using them. So I said in the general reading, and I think maybe the love reading or vice versa, that it was a love reading. I said I won't do the masculine's point of view here. I'll do it in the moon reading. Let's do the love reading this way this week. All right. Your guides have you do stuff you don't necessarily know that there's a specific reason for it. So I held off. So I said I'll use the regular tarot deck for that masculine perspective reading. You know, it's kind of love related. And so I like to have the more than one tarot deck to use for it. And just in case cards want to repeat themselves and stuff, which they often do in my readings, as you guys know. So then I was like, ooh, I should use the Ascended Master deck also. Haven't used that in a minute. So I pull those out. It's already like this. I pull them out with peace offering already on the top. So I have not shuffled these. I wanted to show you how this came out. Now, earlier that day, my friend Simone had called me. And I was halfway expecting her to call me. I mean, she didn't need to call me, but we were supposed to meet up and we were supposed to hang out yesterday. So when she called, I was not surprised. Let's put it that way. She was calling me to tell me that her ex had died and that she'd found out on Facebook, sort of by accident, because he hadn't returned her text, and she just went to his page, I guess, to nudge him and say, hey, what's up with you, and saw that he had passed away. So why am I sharing this personal story about my friend with you? For one thing, life is short. We have constant reminders around us that life is short, and you definitely want to keep in touch with those you care about. But also, when I pulled this deck out, of course, that was the first thing I thought about. I just learned of that. And yesterday happened to be his funeral also. It's looking like, based on the posts, that he may have died the day that white moth showed up in my car, flat on his back. I mentioned the white moth in the general reading and how he's no longer in the corner, but right in the center of my dashboard, and no longer flat on his back, but on his stomach. He's turned himself over and moved, but he's dead, a solid white moth. Anyway, so it's looking like he may have, but I'm not sure about that part. But yesterday was his funeral. Of course, we would have gone. She would have gone. I would have accompanied her, but we didn't know. So just when you have an opportunity to keep in touch with people, do. And especially with these love games that we play, I don't want to be the one to call. I don't want to be the text. I did it last time. Let him do it or let her do it. You may just want to think about how silly that is if you're really genuinely connected to this person at a soul level and or love them. You may want to think about that. But that's not the only reason. The other reason is I was then guided, you should use the Keepers of the Light Oracle too. So I pull these out. Same thing. They're already on this page, Ancestor Spirit. I talked about ancestors up and down and sideways in both readings that I did already. The general and the love reading. In fact, where money was concerned, so this is a positive note, in the general reading, I stopped on the Ace of Cups and really talked about, ancestors showing up, angels showing up to support us through things. So if you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. And that was when I was like, And it's white eagle. Because I also talked about, I didn't talk about the white buffalo, but you see he's a white buffalo. I talked about the white moth. I talked about a white tiger that my client had dreamed of. I talked about my grandfather visiting me as a white owl. And so I was like, oh man, like the ancestors are trying to come through again and say something. So I have to leave these cards as is. I cannot shuffle them. I have to share them with the viewers as is. I can shuffle them in front of you. I'm fine with that. So then I pulled out, this card's trying to, okay, it's no wonder. It's the Three of Swords. It's the Three of Swords. Then I pulled out these two tarot decks, which is the Angel Tarot and the Animal Tarot. And I did shuffle these. And I ended up with Archangel Michael as the Emperor, as the top card, as you see, card number 4. I also talked about in the general reading Archangel Michael because he has a feast day this week on September 29th. It will be the feast day known to some as Michaelmas, and more recently as Archangel's Day because Raphael and Gabriel's feast days have been merged into Michael's. Michael is represented by the number 4. So it's very appropriate that he's here on this Emperor card. He's also known as the Sword. You see he has this big sword here. And he's kind of like a father figure, right, for us. He is a representation of the Father. His name, Michael, means he who is like God. He's like God because, like he is God. The way that souls can replicate, particularly that of seraphim, which Michael is. He can be simultaneously Michael, and in another form Jesus, and in another form the Father, and another form the Mother, however you want to envision it. That's how seraphim are basically shapeshifters. I'm going into the weeds though, and that's not what I want to talk about. Although I don't mind talking to you guys about that stuff and explaining some stuff because I know that others don't. And I know it like the back of my hand, right? Michael, again, is a father figure. So then I started looking at this card and thinking about that my friend's ex, was a father. He had a child, a very young child. He had grown children, but he also had a very young child. Maybe 3 at the most, I'm thinking. And then I started thinking about the Two of Wands that came out on top of the Three of Swords, which we just saw in the other reading. And I was saying, maybe for Mo, it was trying to show me about like her soulmate connection and, and the pain that would be there in the now. Because I read it for the collective as a past pain tied to some sort of soulmate or, divine union or twin flame connection. And as soon as I thought that about the Two of Wands representing the two of them, I had this stack. Look, the Three of Swords just remaining on the table again. I had this stack here. All of a sudden, this is not the exact number of cards, but a whole group of cards jumped off the top onto the floor, revealing a Two of Swords. So let me go through now and see where the Two of Swords is. All right, so we're beginning with the Emperor again. The next card is upside down, but it's the Ace of Swords. Then the 10 of Pentacles, Justice, the World, the Tower in reverse, the King of Pentacles, the King of Wands, the 10 of Swords, and here's the Two of Wands. All of these cards jumped off the deck. and landed and exposing the Two of Wands in the moment when I was having that thought. So that was the confirmation from my ancestors. But I also thought about putting it in terms of the collective again at that, like after that moment with this peace offering. And you know that every time I see this card or pull this card, people die in real life. It's both a blessing and a curse, because I do like to be able to sort of, I mean, you can never really be warned about death, but I've found that with my viewers, and so they find some sort of solace in it, comfort, and see it, I guess, as an opening to come and talk to me after, if they do, God forbid, suffer a loss. So I can typically tell, like, the age range and the sex and all of that of the people who may be passing around us. It's always like celebrities, so we'll see some of that. And then sometimes I say it won't be around us at all, but I think it could be this time, and it would be like father figures, or maybe actual fathers, grandfathers, uncles, who might be passing away during this period of the full moon energy and becoming ancestor spirits, offering us supreme protection in this time of Dharma unfolding, when we're on a path and we need support. And the next card is Infinite Abundance, helping us with that as well. At least in the general reading, like I said, they were helping us with that. All right, so now, all that said, and I know it may have been heavy, but I had to get it out. I'm going to, look what also wanted to be revealed. Freedom it's in the Masters deck. So again, I think it's connection to financial freedom. I was just talking about the money, but also the freeing of souls, maybe. Like trapped. So I did shuffle these in advance, and I sort of went through this was in reverse, and so was this. What was behind these cards. The next card was in reverse, so I tend not to go into detail about that. The Emperor is a card that represents fathers and fatherhood, and for me, married men and widowed men, divorced men, men with children, men that want to be divorced, that are unhappy in their relationships, men that are actually divorced but are still somehow tied to the ex-wife and or the kids in an unhealthy way, that's preventing him from getting into a new relationship. But also more positively, it is a card of authority. It could be representing you as a boss, at least in your own life, taking charge and control of your own life, not letting anybody rule you around. And probably more importantly for this reading, it does represent the planet Mars and the sign of Aries, right? And that's for what the sign in which the full moon will occur. Organization and logic, structure and discipline, also leadership. So now, since we've seen him and talked about him, I'm going to throw him in here arbitrarily and mix up the cards again in front of you. And this will be, again, for the spread, for what the Divine Masculine is thinking, or at least what's his higher self is trying to show to him. If it's not in his actual conscious, in his subconscious, beginning with an overall energy of Major Arcana card, the Empress. Time to hop into action. Use your natural creativity to bring forth prosperity and success in your life. So where there's death, and whether literal or metaphoric, there is new birth. Some of you may have noticed that sometimes when somebody in your family does pass, a baby's born not long after, or, you know, almost simultaneously, it seems. Souls reincarnate. I'll leave that there, and that's something we can talk about at a later date too. The Empress is a card of fertility, whether it is, again, literal or metaphoric. This can be you being fertile with ideas, creativity. Threes are about creativity as well as the creator, as in God, the universe. Abundance represents the planet Venus. She is both the goddess and the planet of abundance and love, ruler of the signs of Taurus, which this card most makes me think about with all the earth and nature that abounds here, but also Libra and Gemini. I see in this picture, you know, the signs of the life, the death, the fertility, the femininity. She exudes femininity. I'm looking here at these, I don't know what these are called, corn or some sort of wheat or something. I think it's wheat. This is the harvest moon, the harvest full moon. So I think that this is speaking to us as well in terms of the harvest and our harvest. So reaping what we've sown, it's a very fertile time, or what we're currently sowing, what you're creatively doing to support yourself and to bring about abundance into your own life. We are reaping the rewards of that, or will soon. There may be some competition in doing that. Somebody may be trying to block your path toward success in one way or another. Again, even with regard to literal pregnancy, something could be trying to block your path. However, this card in a more positive sense also for me represents the planet Mars in the sign of Aries. And we even have the Aries rams here. And it's about pursuing something like you can't be stopped. You cannot be stopped. You are, pursuing what it is you want. And so that's very positive with the aggression and action-oriented energy of Mars behind you. Occasionally, you may experience clashes with others. If you decide the matter is worth your energy, then do what you can to minimize the conflict without sacrificing your own goals or beliefs. Five of Wands for me tends to be, if it's not about one being conflicted, like I'm conflicted, I don't know what to do. Or again, in a positive sense, about pursuing something like by any means necessary, they're going after what they want, then it tends to be about conflict with close friends and or family, including like exes and stuff. And the next card is the Queen of Swords in reverse. So we will get started. Venus could be showing up not only because of the harvest, by the way, but because she enters during this period, this week actually, the sign of Virgo. So Divine Feminine, this is our card. It is the Queen of Cups, tenderhearted, empathetic, patient, and loving. Relationships develop to a new level. Care for yourself and others. This is a card of nurturing, and we are definitely reminded that we have to nurture us too when we're nurturing everybody else. It's a very motherly or mothering kind of card. And there's mother energy around us very much so right now. First of all, the moon represents femininity and mother, right? Divine mother. The Empress, Venus, and her activity represents mother, but also the asteroid Ceres is particularly feminine and currently retrograde and moving from Pisces into Aquarius also this week. The masculine as it relates to the feminine, so connected to this energy. Ooh, conflict. Five of Swords, an unwise choice. Learn what you can from this situation. Review everyone's motives. This can be a card of gossip, just saying not nice things to a person, maybe the masculine having said some things or thought some things or possibly even done some things to the feminine or in her regard that he absolutely should not have, and is dealing with those right now. Which I did talk about also, this being a week of atonement. culminating on the 28th with Yom Kippur on the Hebrew or Jewish calendar, which is the Day of Atonement. So the Three of Swords showed up, and like I said, in the general reading, and I talked about apologies being made and forgiveness being sought. So that can be what this is about too. The masculine as regards to himself in this connection right now, Two of Cups. So yeah, this is what he would prefer, but there's a conflict, or either he's conflicted about making a move in this regard. A relationship that continues to grow closer. Forgiveness, right? Atonement, and the positive resolution of a conflict. This is why I like to shuffle in front of you, so you can say, all right, well, she didn't set that up. It really came out that way, just as she said. Conflict, nurturing. But I also want to point out that both of these cards talk about a relationship developing to a new level. So the feminine's card and the masculine's card. And the feminine's card says relationships develop to a new level. The masculine's card says a relationship continues to grow closer. So both higher selves, at least, on the same page. Is everything in frame? I didn't check that. The masculine as it relates to the connection or union as a whole, awakening. And I think this is literal for a lot of them. Like, finally, like, oh, that's what that was about. That's why I felt that way about him or her. And, maybe time having passed, in the meantime, you've moved on to other relationships. He's with a karmic, or you're with a karmic. And, this is finally like realizing, oh shit, I'm in the wrong situation. I had a conversation with one of my exes in this regard. He was like, I married the wrong fucking woman. Like, seriously. Oops. You start to wake up. Anyway, look at things from a different perspective. You had a temporary stance, so you may feel like time has literally stopped around you while you're in this moment of, whoa, what is going on? Like, now I see things differently. Awakening. Awakening is actually the hangman in the traditional tarot. It's important to be yourself in this time and to be organic about it and let things come, and show you what they really are and what they're not. It's about this is Pisces energy, so getting out of like a dream state and an illusion, and finally checking in with reality. Also, of course, the Queen of Cups could be an actual Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, or someone likened to those traits or attributes in your life, maybe particularly a Pisces. Overall, I like to do it in front of you, like I said. King of Cups. He is trustworthy, compassionate, respected, and cultured. Open your heart and mind to those around you. Trustworthy and heartfelt advice, charity work. King of Cups is somebody who is genuine. Like I said, let it be organic. Let it be genuine. When he comes forward, you can trust him. Even if he's previously been an energy like this, that maybe you couldn't trust. When he's coming to you in this form as the King of Cups, this is genuine. This is organic. And notice when we have both the King and the Queen in the same spread, it's definitely talking about romantic relationships for us. Even though that's where I was going with taking it anyway, the cards, agree and are doing it as well. What the masculine would have, what kind of energy the masculine would have the feminine give to the union or connection this week, if it were up to him, is, I pulled two. All right, I pulled two. Whoa. The 10 of Air and the 10 of Cups. So he's saying, I want her to acknowledge that the worst is behind her, or us, and move into this space of total love and be open to and receptive to it. So 10 of Swords, the end of a difficult situation. Embrace the change and expect things to get better now. You should be looking forward to things getting better, like not staying in a space of, well, nothing good ever happens to me, or it's been crap all this time. What's going to be different now? This is looking ahead, like the worst is behind me. Only good things moving forward, positive vibes only in the future. And then the Ten of Cups sort of supports that. A contented and rewarding family life. Your emotional and material needs are met, and you have trustworthy relationships. Like I just said, he's genuine, he's organic, you can trust him, even if you couldn't at one point. Energy of the masculine, with regard to the union or connection himself, or at least as far as his higher self is concerned. Queen of Pentacles. Thoughtful, caring, creative, and ingenious. You will be given advice that's both practical and creative, and it should be followed precisely. Focus only upon the positive in every situation or person. Queen of Pentacles is most directly a Taurus, like the Empress. So what is this saying to me that the masculine is saying? This is his energy. Or this is the energy he wants. This kind of fertile co-creation energy. That's why he's showing up as the Queen of Pentacles. But of course, this can also be representative of a Virgo, or where Venus is moving. So that's a very strong energy for her right now too. Not just because she rules Taurus, but also, of course, Capricorn as well, or someone likened to those traits or attributes that's not an earth sign at all. What energy the universe or God would have each archetype or both of us to give to the union or connection, and even wants to help us to work out, is also the Queen of Pentacles. Thoughtful, creative, warm, and sensible. Make time for those around you. See, this is why I say what the guides put in my mouth to say, or guide me to say. Because it comes up. It comes back up in the reading. I started out by talking to you about making time for the people that you care about, right? Make time for those around you. Take a sensible approach and deal with challenges in a kind and understanding manner. So even, if we're not together, we can still be cordial. We can still be friends. We can still care if each other lives or dies, and want to at least remain in contact to that extent that I'll know I don't have to see you in a coffin on Facebook to learn this. And the outcome here. The Eight of Pentacles. Skilled work is rewarded. Learning all there is to know about a topic, and maybe even going back to school. So if you look at the general reading, you'll see that the Eight of Pentacles is the card that represented love and relationship this week. And so I had said at the time it's not a very sexy energy for love and relationship, but some of us will be actually working toward resolving issues that are keeping us single when we don't want to be, or that are hurting our relationships, keeping us stuck in relationships that are bad, that should be over, that we want to leave, or keeping us from giving our all and doing our best in the relationships that we have that we want to maintain. And the universe is guiding me to pull the next card and be greedy. I like to pull upright cards as clarifiers, although I don't feel like we need a clarifier. I'm going to do it, and this is why they want me to do it. It is the Ace of Cups. Falling in love, or the resurgence of a relationship. Spiritual growth, right, like awakening. And enhanced intuition, maybe even a new home. So the Ace of Cups is saying there's something brand new, emotionally fulfilling, that is out there waiting for us. For some, it's just starting. It's beginning with awakening, but we can work toward genuine relationships with genuine people that involve mutual love and respect and adoration. All right, so now that was very nice, although I know my energy has been all over the place. That was a beautiful spread. And now I'm going to do one from the perspective of the universe using the Ascended Master deck, which I will shuffle in front of you. I'm just throwing these in random places in case we decide to use these again as well. So, Ascended Master deck, again, beginning with White Buffalo Calf Woman. Opening to Yoga and Babaji, but something else sticking out here. It is Persistence and Lu. So Yoga, it's a means of meditation as far as I'm concerned, to help us get our heads clear. Right? Health and healing. Hilarion ties into that. The yoga. It's also a very earth energy for me. All this green. I can't help but think about the emerald ray and the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Stay focused. So that goes toward manifestation. Speaking of the emerald ray, could be connected to Raphael. Again, he has a feast day this week. And opening to focus upon your strengths. And I think we just saw stay focused right before this. So stay focused on your strengths. For some, that'll be that of a teacher. That's your strength. And for others, this is guidance toward figuring out what your strength is. It's like a hermit type of card, guiding you to go within and be both the teacher and the student about you. And then opening to balance, career, and home life, says Isis. Very Two of Pentacles kind of card. And lastly, work your magic in Saint Germain of the 7th, or Violet Ray. He and his divine feminine Lady Portia, who's a very Venus-y and most specifically Justice and Libra kind of energy. And we cut. King Solomon says priorities. That's our overall energy. So beginning here with divine being or couple. So all of my readings and spreads are for singles, couples, separation, whatever it is. Divine being or couple, we're starting with yoga again. So we got to do some meditation. Clear our heads. Recent past. See the other person's point of view. So this is like that awakening and recognizing somebody else's perspective. Some of us recently having had that happen to us. I'm also noticing that already we're starting out with like the same frames, the same color scheme here. That may mean something for somebody, or I may figure out what it means for the collective as we go along. Near future. So from a positive standpoint, peace offering in terms of somebody literally making a peace offering. Maybe like an apology, or trying to right a wrong because they've seen the other person's point of view. So now I got to correct this. I can't just see it and not do anything about it. Or I could, but that would be being a douche. So you want to correct it. Peace offering. For others, I already went over what White Buffalo Calf Woman means when I pulled a card. Masculine higher self. Purification in White Tara. So maybe after his awakening, realizing I got to clean myself up. I got to change my ways. I'm moving into this really spiritual space. And it's pushing me to do better. Anybody who's been through it already, especially like Dark Night of the Soul and all that kind of stuff, you know that's what it does. It pushes you to do better. Blocks to individual or shared progress. So maybe our progress as a couple, our progress, individually. Failing to take charge of the situation. Moses tells us to do that. In addition to that, what the feminine can do to help herself. Retreat into nature, says the Green Man. Also, again, bringing in the energies of the earth signs, So maybe you're guided to retreat with an earth sign, maybe not by yourself. Again, a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, or someone like into those traits or attributes. The green man is also like the masculine version of like the Empress, and it's a card of abundance and good things coming to you. So maybe that will enable you to take charge of a situation. Maybe you need some, money to be able to do some of the things you have to do in order to take charge of your situation, and or in assets, or something. You need some sort of assistance from the universe. So this also says that that's coming. What the masculine can do to help himself, besides taking charge of the situation, it is meditate. So we're going back to square one with him, and yoga. You don't have to do yoga to meditate, but again, it's a means of meditation as far as I'm concerned. And this is guiding you to get to a higher place, right? Your purification and your spiritual growth through meditation. What the universe would recommend either archetype or both archetypes to do, and even wants to help us to do, but we have our free will, so we have to let it help us or not, it's up to us, is father, brother, husband, son, Osiris. Okay, so this is tying into what I said about possibly, for one thing, possibly the loss of a father, husband, brother. I really don't feel brother or son, but this is listing, several positions that a male may have in your family. I feel like it's older, like middle age and up, so not necessarily brother or son. But it's coming up to me as Osiris is the god of the living and the dead, but he ruled from the underground because he was deceased longer than he was alive. It's saying the card in general says that there's a masculine energy and or possibly an actual male energy in your life with whom you need to heal a relationship, and that's going to help you. It could be your own inner masculine, because we're all all human beings are androgynous at the soul level. So you could have your own inner masculine that you're needing to heal. Maybe you've been out of balance. Isis talked about Isis showed up also, his wife, right? So she talked about balance. You could be too heavily relying on your femininity right now, your feminine energy, and you need to, take it right toward the masculine a little bit and find the happy place somewhere in the middle. Although it's okay for us all to be a little bit more of one than the other. Most of us are, and that's fine. That's normal. I'm not saying somebody's again gonna definitely lose their father. I don't wish that on anybody, but eventually we all do, right? That's part of life. Death is part of life, whether we like it or not. And so, if there is a relationship that can be healed with your father, husband, brother, son, or even like your ex or ex-husband, like the father of your son, then we're guided to do it. We're guided to try to fix it if we can. Outcome. That always gets me like, whoa, like where am I now? After I have to talk about something so heavy. And it's fertility and Pan. So this is another card that is very similar to the Empress and all about abundance, but also again actual fertility. And we're very, very potent right now and able to get people pregnant or to become pregnant ourselves. Some of us may be learning that we're pregnant over these next 2 weeks. It's already happened, and or giving birth specifically between these 2 weeks, whether it's early or late, or all of a sudden it's induced unexpectedly, giving birth over these next 2 weeks with fertility and Pan showing up. But in a more metaphoric sense, again, it's about being like ripe with ideas and energy and ready to face the world. Could very well be one's father, husband, brother, son, whose perspective or point of view they've recently, in the recent past, come to understand or appreciate, even if they still don't agree. Okay, I see their point of view now. I get it, at least, and maybe that enables you to begin to work on healing a relationship. Okay. Now, the Keepers of the Light Oracle, again, we're beginning with White Eagle and Ancestor Spirit. Connect to your lineage, which could also be tying into what we were just talking about. A family wound or pattern can be healed now. So that can really be talking about, like I said, you see the other person's point of view. Now you can make up with your father, brother, husband, son. And opening to Krishna and devotion. Trust your spiritual guidance. Your commitment has been recognized. You're loved unconditionally. White Eagle. Saint Germain. He's back in another deck, right? Karma releasing. Move beyond drama. Create your own path and make room for good energy. Again, this is talking about the violet ray. Some of you may want to look into that. That's something else I can talk about at length on another video. But you may want to look into Saint Germain and or Lady Portia, his divine feminine. Or the seventh ray or the violet ray, Saint Germain. And Archangel Michael. Trusting heaven. You are safe. Angels stand close. Surrender your concerns and allow a miracle to occur. And the Shekinah, sacred self. Unleash your spirit, express your gifts, and dance to the sacred rhythm of life. I closed the love reading where if you get like I said, like the song goes, if you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. So Sir Nunos wants to be seen. Life force, express your driving passion. Sensual and sexual powers are increased. Pan is a very sexual card too, the one we just ended on. Almec Mary Magdalene, my last one. Teacher awakens. So it's kind of like with the last spread, I ended on teacher as well. You have something important to share. Follow the inner call and don't let anything stop you. Archangel Michael. That brings us to Kuan Yin. Care and compassion. Choose to be love. Do what is right for everyone involved and offer a helping hand. I was just going to do the advice, but I think I'm going to pull 3 cards for each archetype and 3 cards in the middle, like my old Queen of Swords square. So crowning the masculine. Bridget, an inner strength. Move back to wholeness. Recognize that you have the power. Surrounding him. The divine director. Intervention and purpose. Divine intervention is occurring. Know that you're being guided. Happiness is your purpose. So your angels and ancestors are going to be helping you right now. Also, you have the inner strength to face any challenges that come your way. And you may be getting some actual like Leo or fire energy, maybe from Mars. But Aries, Leo, Sagittarius to help you with that, to make you feel more passionate and aggressive and action oriented. Masculine subconscious, Commander Ashtar, call to action, take charge, lead by example, and walk your talk. Like no more bullshit. With the 5 of swords that came up before, I said that can be a card about representing the masculine. I said that can be a card of like integrity or lack thereof, having said or done something that wasn't cool. And this is saying like not to bullshit, to walk your talk, say what you mean what you say, and respond to the call to action. You're being awakened, so wake up and do what you're guided to do by those ancestors and angels and whatever surrounds you that's helping you to down your path in a positive way. Feminine, crowning. Serapis Bay, ascension. Move into your true self and rise above the darkness. The light is here. So this is again maybe guiding you toward not acting out of pride and ego, like, well, again, I called last time, let him call, or let her call, but rather from a place of a higher vibration and love. Surrounding the feminine. Babaji, soul expansion. Your consciousness is expanding. That goes right along with the ascension. You understand the connections between all things. So like you get it. You're a little further along than the masculine. Act like it. You know, you're more mature spiritually. And feminine subconscious. It's another teacher kind of card with Melchizedek, and it is higher learning. So this is another like hermit or hierophant type of card. You have learned from experience. More inner study is now required to further your progress. So the feminines next 2 weeks, it looks like, are all about continued ascension, what they're calling soul expansion, and continued learning, inner work, outer work, all of that growth on her part. The masculines goes along with what we saw for him too. It's more of a beginner stage, but he's being given the power to face it all and deal with it all and handle it all and move through it successfully. Crowning for the two, Mary Magdalene is also back. Teacher awakens. You have something important to share. Follow the inner call and don't let anything stop you. At the root or foundation, the Miriam, sacred vision. Choose to forgive in order to heal. See the light in all, and remember that love has no boundaries. This is a very Gemini or Mercurian sort of energy. All these teacher ones are very Virgo, Taurus for me. And lastly, at the heart of the matter, express your driving passion. Sensual and sexual powers are increased. So not only is our spiritual energy increasing, but sexual energy is also increasing, and sensual energy. So getting maybe chakras being cleared, like the sacral chakra being cleared, and the solar plexus being cleared, and that's allowing us to grow in these areas. Further advice for the masculine from this deck. The Shekinah self is back again. Unleash your spirit, express your gifts, and dance to the sacred rhythm of life. For the feminine, Archangel Michael also back, trusting heaven. You are safe. Angels stand close. Yeah, they stand very close over this next week. Again, on the 29th, it is Archangel Day, and on the 2nd of October, it is Guardian Angel Day. Surrender your concerns and allow a miracle to occur. From the Ascended Masters deck for the masculine, Isis is back also. Balance career and home life. So she wants you to make time for your relationships and stuff. You've probably been really enthralled in work and focused on growing, your assets and being able to provide for yourself and a mate should you take one on, or if you have one already. Family, children, and stuff like that, but wants you to focus now in a more balanced way, sometime on each area, right, of importance in your life. Feminine, for us, listen. It's a big part of communication, like to listen to the other person's side and not just talk or not just hear even. And from these two decks, well, they made it easy for me this time. From the Angel Tarot to the masculine, the King of Wands. This is very Aries, right? Mars, as well as an energy of that of Leo and Sagittarius. Most directly in the tarot, actually it represents the sign of Sagittarius, but this is an Aries reading, Aries full moon. The King of Fire is, or Wands, is motivational, idealistic, ambitious, and charismatic. Focus, focus, focus. Communicate with vision and be a leader. Take advice from someone creative. For the feminine, the Six of Swords, things are looking up. This card tends to show up where the Ten of Swords has been. Like it's saying that's the end of the difficulty, and this is like reconfirmation. Yes, things are getting better. end of a difficult situation, just like the Ten of Swords suggested. And we may even be taking a trip. This can be about metaphoric or literal travel. It's about moving forward in any case, though, never backward. This is about things getting better in the future, the best of times being ahead of you. And for the masculine, it's another Ace of Cups. Very nice. I talked about the white dove a lot in the general reading. Do check it out. This is the beginning of a new emotional experience for you. It may be the first blush of romantic love, the rebirth of a current relationship, or the awakening, masculine, of your spiritual gifts and insights. And again, I think it may be all of those things, but I think it's definitely the awakening for a lot of you. And just realizing, that's what that was about, you know. I get it now, and beginning to understand who you are and what you are in terms of being a divine, a spiritual being. And lastly, feminine for us, it is the Four of Pentacles. Be cautious about living a life of extremes or seeing things in black and white terms. Consider, for example, whether you're spending too much versus hoarding your wealth, or giving too much emotionally versus building up walls that keep people out. And for me, the Four of Pentacles is always also about remaining in a situation or relationship or circumstance, whether it's a job, a living condition, again, a relationship where we are unhappy for the sake of ease. You know, it's the devil, you know. I'm used to this person or this place or whatever. Hey, I get a paycheck, or we got kids together. At least he helps me pay the rent, or she splits the mortgage. So at least there's that, even though I can't stand to look at her, and these are not reasons that are that you should be allowing to sort of stifle you in terms of your growth in your life. We are here for a short time in the scheme of things, but at the same time, I always like to say life is both too long and too short to be unhappy, right? 90 years, if you get to live that long, that's a long time to be unhappy. I'd rather be happy during that time. But at the same time, 90 years, you say, that's it, I don't get to see my great grandkids. So enjoy your life while you can. Live in the moment, live in the present. Thank you for watching. Please do hit the like button, share, comment, all those things. For those of you who'd like to stick around, I'm going to log on my laptop quickly and go over what this full moon is about. So looking at the celestial calendar, again, this reading begins with October 1st at 5:05 p.m., the full moon, 9 degrees Aries. October 2nd at 4:48 p.m., Venus enters Virgo, which I also mentioned, 0 degrees Venus and 00 Virgo. October 3rd, 11 p.m., Pluto will be quincux the true node, which is Gemini. Both Pluto and the true node will be at 22 degrees, their respective signs, Capricorn and Gemini. October 4th, 9:33 a.m., Pluto goes direct. Pluto, which is currently retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. And that will also be 22 degrees Capricorn that occurs. It's going direct in Capricorn. Pluto, the ruler of Scorpio, by the way. October 9th, 8:39 p.m., the quarter moon occurs, 17 degrees Cancer. October 12th at 3:06 a.m., Jupiter will be sextile Neptune, which is also currently retrograde in the sign of Pisces, which it rules. Jupiter will be 18 degrees Capricorn. Neptune will be 18 degrees Pisces. And October 13th, 9:05 p.m., that dreaded time of year, Mercury goes retrograde, 11 degrees Scorpio. And lastly, October 16th, as I mentioned as well, 3:31 p.m., the new moon in Libra occurs, 23 degrees Libra. Other than that, in addition to what I've demonstrated during the reading and talked to you about as we went along, I feel like this is going to be a full moon that's all about alignment. It's exactly 12:12 p.m. On Sunday the 27th, so maybe there's all the threes there with the 9. It's giving me confirmation just in that alone. Spiritual alignment, 9s. I said the moon is going to be about 9. It's going to be at 9 degrees Aries. 9s are about humanitarianism and spirituality. So like that awakening and trying to figure out what is your purpose. toward humanity. What is your purpose toward the greater good? And I think that this moon is going to be about aligning with that purpose, to the extent that you're able. Again, some of us are just waking up, and that's fine too. We all are at the pace that, for which we're destined, and that is, what that is. Um, but I think that to the extent that we're able, then we're going to be aligning with our purpose. So if you've been at this for a while, like I described the feminine, and you've done this work already, then I think we're going to be making a major step forward in our ascension process, and really coming into some new knowing, and perhaps even gifts spiritually. So in terms of the almanac, what they have to say about this full moon, here we go. For decades, the almanac has referenced the monthly full moons with names tied to early Native American and colonial folklore. However, both the harvest moon and the hunter's moon, which occurs at the end of the month, on the 31st, on Halloween actually, which would make it a blue moon, because if you have two full moons in 1 month, it makes the second one a blue moon. So that's from where that saying comes from, once in a blue moon. But this should be talking about the harvest moon, which is this one actually. This goes to say both the harvest moon and the hunter's moon are unique in that they're not related to folklore nor necessarily tied to a single month. Instead, they relate to the astronomical event, the autumnal equinox. The harvest moon is said to be the full moon which occurs nearest to the date of the autumnal equinox, September 22nd, 2020. This means that either September or October's full moon may take on the name harvest moon instead of its traditional name. Similarly, the hunter's moon is the first moon to follow the harvest moon, meaning that it can occur in either October or November. This year, both the harvest moon, October 1st, and the hunter's moon, October 31st, occur in October. Some folks believe that this full moon was called the full hunter's moon because it signaled the time to go hunting in preparation for winter. Since the harvesters had recently reaped the fields under the harvest moon, hunters could easily see the fattened deer and other animals that had come out to glean, and the foxes and wolves that had come out to prey on them. The earliest use of the term hunter's moon, cited the Oxford English Dictionary, is from 1710. That's another 9. 171 is 9. Some sources suggest that other names for the hunter's moon are the sanguine or blood moon, either associated with the blood from the hunting or the turning of the leaves in autumn. Some Native American tribes who tied the full moon names to the season's activities called the full moon the travel moon or the dying grass moon. In lunisolar calendars, the months change with the new moon, and the full moons fall in the middle of our lunar month. This full moon falls near the middle of the 9th month in the Chinese calendar, and Markeshvan in the Hebrew calendar. In the Islamic calendar, the months start with the first sighting of the waxing crescent moon a few days after the new moon, and this full moon is near the middle of Safar, the 2nd month of the Islamic year. They also have a video if you want to watch on this page, the almanac, and suggest that for actual harvesting, in terms of above ground crops, the best days to do that will be on the 21st, 22nd, and 31st of the month. Below ground crops on the 4th and 5th. For setting eggs, those of you who are lucky enough to have farms and animals, the 5th and 6th. And for fishing, the 1st and the 16th through the 31st. Moon folklore: corn planted under a waning moon grows slower but yields larger ears. Babies born a day after the full moon enjoy success and endurance, and a new moon in your dreams promises increased wealth or a happy marriage. And I'm just going to go over some other things that I feel about this. So some of you may know that the buck moon that occurs like early summer and the hunter moon are like my least favorite moons, because around those times a lot of black people are killed, like by typically black men, by police and stuff. So the white buffalo could be associated to that because we're in the harvest moon, the hunter moon now occurring. So maybe between this period and through, and then beyond, slightly beyond, I'd say to November 11th, um, we could be seeing a lot more of this death and things going on, like on a national scale, on a global scale, death. And maybe more of that than we will see around ourselves, thankfully. Um, yeah, I definitely think it's going to be on a larger scale for the most part, because also they talk about this being called the blood moon too. So yesterday I posted on Facebook that a 50,000 liter drum of wine, red wine, had exploded in Spain and spilled this wine, out onto the street, and it looked like blood running through the streets. And I remembered a part of scripture that talks about blood running in the streets. The prophet Ezekiel 28, tells us that Jesus said about this city called Sidon, Sidon. I believe it's in Syria. It's a city that's in modern day Syria. But I think this can be translated to talk about the United States and, the world at large even. 28 Ezekiel 28:23 says, I will send a plague against her and shed blood in her streets. The slain will fall within her, while the sword, which is Archangel Michael, again, who has a feast day this week on the 29th, is against her on every side. Then they will know I am the Lord. So I immediately thought about literally blood running in the streets, or again, death, people, lives being lost. This can also be connected potentially to COVID, right? We have that still going on around the world, but mostly the United States, because we haven't done the right thing in this country in terms of COVID. And we have 7 million people that have suffered with it. And of those 7 million, 200,000 that have died. I know some people are like, oh, it's only this percent of, the total or whatever. I don't care. It's a lot of people that we allowed to die, and it didn't need to happen. Not only even if you disregard, now it's 12:21, even if you disregard the tapes and all this kind of stuff that we've heard and seen, saying that we should have known better as a country, if not specifically our president should have known better. But if you just look at the other countries that were able to quell the situation, we're the only one that didn't. So obviously we're doing something wrong. So there could be more life lost because of that as well, with this moon. So those are maybe some of the more, maybe the more downside of the moon, and some predictions that I'm going ahead and making right now on this channel. And, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, like I said, there won't be any loss close to you. I don't wish it upon any of you or any of us. On that note, I will end this reading and discussion. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, again, please hit the like button, share, comment, subscribe if you haven't already by hitting both the subscribe button and the bell button. I have tons of problems with YouTube. I posted on my Facebook today. Normally they don't even tell me that I'm having a problem or that there is a problem. They just don't put my videos in the feed, or all kinds of bullshit happens. But today they said data is unavailable for your videos, and as a result, information is missing or inaccurate. Yeah, of course, because that always happens to me. So that's why I need you to hit both the bell button and the subscribe button, so that you can hopefully at least get your notifications, because many of my viewers don't. All right, thanks for it all. I appreciate it. Namaste.